Believe we are live. It is a lovely Thursday, June 26th, and today, I'll tell you, we kind of have a little bit of a special broadcast today because President Trump, really any minute now, is going to be taking the stage, excuse me, he's going to be participating in the One Big Beautiful Bill event at the White House today, and they're going to be live broadcasting that entire thing. So, dude, I'm out of breath here. Excuse me, I apologize. And so, literally any second now, that is going to be taking place. We're going to watch that live. They're going to be going live any moment now. After that, we have a lot of other things to talk about. We're going to be talking about this would-be mayor, Zohran Mamdani, today. We're going to be talking about him. We're also going to be talking about the current state of the Iranian and Israeli. What is wrong with me today? What is going on here, folks? Must be allergies or something. Jeez. Anyway, today's going to be a big show. We have massive Iran and Israel, Middle East updates. We have this Trump live event going. It's going to go live any second. Today I went live maybe 2 hours before I had planned on going live. Because of this event. So really, frankly, to be honest, we are kind of chilling here waiting. Trump right now, it is, according to his official White House schedule, he's supposed to go live right this very moment. Here's that schedule. In the East Room at 4 p.m. Eastern, President Trump participates in the One Big Beautiful Bill event. So he could be a couple minutes late. It's true. But we are here waiting for that to go live, doing live coverage until then. And like I said, after they are done with that event in the White House, we have a lot to talk about. It is, frankly, there's a lot going on in the news today, but I don't really want to, between you and me, I don't really want to get into it yet because I just know we're going to be interrupted any second here by this event at the White House. So until then, hey, it's just us kind of hanging out, waiting for President Trump to take the stage and for the Associate Press to go live here. Now, I don't even have my YouTube live chat activated. Here we go. Here's everybody. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. It's another great day. I said we're going to be doing these live streams. You guys are going to get sick of me. I'm going to be here every single day in the afternoon covering everything. And rain or shine, whatever it is, doesn't matter if it's a slow day or a fast day, we are here nonetheless. We are not going to miss a single day. I spent, we've been doing this political coverage here on YouTube every single day, uploading videos for maybe 8 months, since November. Yeah, 8 months. But it's only recently, the last 2 weeks or so, that we have started doing live broadcasts here. Man, that was a mistake. It was a mistake to not do the live broadcasts sooner. These live shows have been going so well. We've had such a great turnout with every single show. I'm sitting here like, man, I was so stupid. We should have been doing live shows this entire time. The feedback that I get from you guys, it seems like people like it. So, and now, of course, we've gotten back to uploading our daily videos. We had a video this morning. So anyway, thank you all very much for tuning in today. Any second, we are all operating right now on Trump time. You know, the White House said it's going to be 4 p.m. Eastern. Could be 5 minutes from now. Could be 2 minutes from now. Could be 5 minutes. But then anyway, after this Trump event, like I said, then we are going to talk about Mr. What is his name? I can never remember his name. Zohran Mamdani. We're going to talk a lot about Zohran Mamdani today. Everybody's favorite. You know, some people are calling him a socialist. Honestly, he's not. He's a communist. Listen, a socialist and a communist, it's not exactly the same thing. It's a little bit different. Okay? He's really not a socialist. He's just a full-fledged, all-out, just unashamed communist, and maybe he's going to end up being the governor of New York City. So that is not good. Now we have a massive super chat in the chat from Maggie. Maggie says, moving fund, thank you very much. She's from Texas. I've got family down in Austin, Texas. I spent a lot of time as a kid, well, really all throughout my life, going down to Austin. Texas is a nice state. For me, I think maybe I couldn't live there. It's a little bit too hot for me, but I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much. Texas is a beautiful state. It really is. Thank you very much, Maggie. I appreciate that. You know, speaking about moving, I said, right now, my wife and I we are in the process of trying to moved to Idaho, and right now we live in Western Washington. This morning, before I went live today, I was plugging away through all of the pre-approval paperwork, submitting all my tax documents, and there's like 20 different tax documents, whatever you have to submit to get your loan approved, and what a pain in the butt. So anyway, hey, that's how I spent my morning today, is trying to work through the pre-approval process of getting a mortgage loan. So anyway, it's been a pretty boring day for me. But anyway, any second now, President Trump is going to be going live. Now, I see a couple people coming here. Not going to watch if you're going to clickbait. I am not Listen, guys, I've been making videos for 8 months. You guys know my videos. You know, guys, I'm not a clickbaiter. If the title and the thumbnail says something is happening, that is what is happening. Okay? I'm not lying to you guys. In fact, every time you guys are like, oh, it's clickbait, listen, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart a little bit, because really, I'm not blowing smoke. Okay. Now, that being said, today is a live show, and we are going to talk about multiple topics today. And we are starting off the show with President Trump's address at the White House, going live any second now. He's 5 minutes late at the moment. And he's going to be talking about the big, beautiful bill. So we are going to talk about the big, beautiful bill. President Trump is speaking live first and foremost. But then after that, we are going to talk about, what is his name? I cannot remember this guy's name. It's Zoran Mamdani. Zoran. Do you remember when Americans had names like Jeffrey Smith and Jason Brown and stuff like that? It's like, what happened to those names? What happened to good old-fashioned American names like Matt Morse? I wish, man, why can't everybody be named Matt Morse? That is a name. That's one hell of a name. No, I'm kidding. Anyway, Zoran Mamdani is his name. And we're going to be talking about that soon. Zoran Mamdani, the communist who might be getting deported, by the way. That is not clickbait, okay? I'm not lying to you. That's a big story, but we got to get through the other stuff first. And I feel a little bit bad. I was actually going to go live. I was going to do my live show 2 hours from now. And then I was looking at the schedule. It said, oh, Donald Trump is doing this live, event in the White House. Okay, I got to go live now. And so I rushed to go live right now. And now President Trump is 5 minutes late. Now Trump is 6 minutes late. And now I just sit here, I look like an idiot. So I do apologize a little bit. We are going to sit here and kind of ramble and make small talk, because President Trump is 6 minutes behind schedule. But you know what? That's the way it goes. This is how the news is. Sometimes things happen, and then other times things don't happen, and you have to wait. So I appreciate everybody's patience here today. Naturalized citizens cannot associate with communists. Read the oath. I'll tell you something. My wife is an immigrant from Germany. We have been married for almost 5 years. My wife is a German woman from a very small, little tiny German village in Rhineland-Pfalz. Germany has states too, little areas within the country. Her state is called Stadt Rhineland-Pfalz, is what it's called. And she's from a very small little countryside German town. It has maybe 1,000 people. Okay, really small. Think of it, just a country German girl. And anyway, so we got married, and she got her green card. We did the legal process. We did everything legally, and we had an immigration attorney, which cost a lot of money. But anyway, we did it all. And the final hurdle for her to get her green card, she had to meet with an immigrant, like a U.S. immigration agent. And she was interviewed during the green card immigration process. And I was in the room with her, sitting there as she was kind of being interrogated or interviewed a little bit. And here's our event, folks. Anyway, one of the questions in order to get a green card was, have you ever been affiliated with any communist party? If the answer was yes, you're not allowed to get a green card. Okay, so they asked my wife, well, have you ever been a part of a communist party anywhere in the world? Nope. All right, you're in. So anyway, still on the books, our country operates. Hey, listen, no communists allowed. We do not want these communists in the country. Now, there is Pete Hegseth. We're zoomed in on his face right there. I'm going to turn up the audio, folks. The live event is beginning now. Let me turn up the audio here. Yeah, they're just a couple minutes late, but that's okay. That's the way the world is sometimes. Okay. Is he a communist or a socialist? This guy is a communist, which is a little bit different than a socialist. It is a little bit different. It's not the same exactly. But this guy is a communist. We're going to talk about that soon, though, after this Trump Big Beautiful Bill event. First, we're going to talk about the Big Beautiful Bill. Now, I'll tell you, folks, today's White House itinerary doesn't actually say how long this event is going to be. It says 4 p.m. Eastern. Right there, you can see that. President Trump participates in the One Big Beautiful event. But is it going to be an hour or 2 hours? I frankly have no idea. So we're just, we're just shooting from the hip today, folks. I'm sorry. Maybe today's broadcast is a little bit all over the place, but we're going to shoot from the hip today. Now, just because I don't want people clicking on the stream and saying, hey, what, this is not what I clicked for, I'm going to actually put a little note at the top of the show. Like up next, up next. So this guy's name is Zoran Mamdani. Okay. Just so people can't say I'm clickbaiting, because I really do feel guilty. It actually hurts my feelings. It hurts my feelings. Okay. So I'm going to add a little overlay here, and also whoa. There. That is whoa, that's really big. I apologize. Listen, hey, I don't have $1 million production team, okay? I'm just a guy in a room with a webcam and a microphone. I do not have a professional apparatus here, so bear with me here, folks. I'm just a guy. I'm going to go ahead and put this up here. I'm going to make this bold. And right now, this big beautiful event is starting any second. You can kind of see they're all saying hi. Hey, what's up? How you doing? Long time no see. Good to see you. Hey, you know what I'll do right now? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I do want to say thank you all very much. Today is a little bit of a different show. It is a little bit kind of hectic. It's a little bit frazzle-dazzle. So thank you all for tuning in today. Oh, you know what's going to look real sleek? Okay, when I do this next thing, I want everybody in the live audience to say, oh, wow. Oh. Look at that. Oh, wow. Look at that. Now we have the black background. Wow. Okay. It's coming together. All right. Hey, we are putting this show together. It's coming back. We're getting a grip on things today. Do not worry. Except now I'm thinking, where do I want to put that? That's probably fine up over there on the top left. That's fine. That's probably fine. Oh, wow. There you have it. That is the microphone President Trump will be speaking at soon at some point. Hold my beer. Listen, I don't drink alcohol a lot. I don't drink any hard liquor, really just because I can't stand it. But I don't know. At once a month, I'll have a drink, a beer or two. And the other day, I had 2 hard apple ciders at a restaurant, and I was off my ass. I was belligerent. All it took is two hard apple ciders. Pretty much, I have the alcohol tolerance of like a 12-year-old Japanese girl who weighs 95 pounds. I just cannot handle it. I cannot tolerate it. Oh, are people coming out? What's going on here? You got a bunch of American workers coming up here, blue-collar American workers. Look at that. No, that's just how I am, I guess. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. They're loading up. We have, all types of industry. You have a pilot, all types. You got a cowboy, got a rancher, all types of blue-collar workers. Very fancy music. That's how we like it. Nothing wrong with that. Best production value for free. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, here at Matt Morris here at Matt Morris Media, we have a limited production budget. So, you know, we gotta work with what we have. That's just how it goes. We got the Village People. Yeah, I think they're gonna sing YMCA up there. She's a mom, a something mom, some type of mom. They've got the whole. Is that Carolyn Levitt? Who's that? That blonde woman, kind of telling people where to go. It kind of looks like her. Oh, something's happening here. This guy's wearing his what is this called, a smock? Is this called a smock? It's called a whatever it's called. Anyway, apron. It's not an apron. An apron is for a chef. I think that was Levitt, White House press secretary. Oh, you know what? I apologize. I had my audio muted. Now you guys can hear the nice classical music. I apologize. Anyway, you can hear the lovely music. And right now we're going to hope that this music does not get my live broadcast hit with a copyright strike, which is always possible. But we're going to play it anyway. That's okay. Dexter Morgan wears a smock. Well, who's Dexter Morgan? Is that the guy from the TV? Oh yeah, the serial killer from the TV show. I haven't seen that. I'm like not the biggest TV show guy. I'm probably super unrelatable and also boring. Anytime somebody mentions a movie, I haven't seen it. Anytime somebody mentions a TV show, I haven't seen it. Sporting event, I haven't seen it. I'm like the least relatable guy ever, I guess. I don't know. Now, I did recently watch a show that I'm lying actually, because I did watch a show a couple months ago, 6 months ago, with my wife. It was called Lost. If anybody has seen Lost, we finished that show probably 6 months ago, so that was a little while ago, but that was a good show. That is a good show. That came out in the 2000s. So we just saw, there's Howard Lutnick there in the bottom left. He's one of Trump's top negotiators. But listen, right now, we're just waiting for the man of the hour. This is Scott Bessent down there in the bottom right. Right there. He is our Treasury Secretary. Oh, there's little Marco Rubio. Right there up front. This is, we just saw him a moment ago. Pete Hegseth right there. And this is Doug Burgum to his left. He's our energy secretary. He's helping, unleash the American energy. That's what he's doing. That's his job. But anyway, any second now, the man of the hour is coming out. Any second now. No income tax on the first 200,000. Yeah, they're talking about that. I don't know if that's actually going to get pushed through, but wouldn't that be amazing if Americans didn't have to pay income tax on the first $200,000? That would exempt 95, I believe, 95% of Americans from paying income tax, federal income tax. That would be something else. Interior. Okay, thank you. Interior. Secretary of Interior. Appreciate that. Or better yet, we just go ahead and abolish the entire IRS. We just get rid of it. Wouldn't that be better? I think so. Maybe a little bit. Sounds like a kid is sitting in front of the piano, just banging the keyboard. Bop, 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 bop. No property tax. Yeah, we don't like property tax either. True. In the mid 1800s, my family migrated west along the Oregon Trail, and a few of them actually peeled off along the way, and they were getting land on the Homestead Act. This is hard to believe these days. You wouldn't believe it. We had an act. It was called the Homestead Act, And pretty much, if you were a pioneer moving west in the mid-1800s across the continental U.S., you would be given free land. The land is yours, but under the condition that you would settle it, that you would, you would make something productive out of the land. You'd have a cattle ranch or a farm. You would, you'd cut the trees down and make timber or lumber or whatever. And that was what really fueled a lot of our nation's westward expansion. Oh, something's happening here. Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, the President of the United States.
The man himself, he's coming out. There he is. Once he starts talking, I will make sure the audio is where it needs to be so we can hear him. Do not worry about that. We got it. We got it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. That's a good-looking group behind me. This group isn't too bad either. Very nice. Nice to be with you. Beautiful, right? Beautiful. Thank you very much. And thank you all for being here to support one of the most important pieces of legislation in the history of our country. And that's everybody saying that, virtually everybody. The one big, beautiful bill to secure our borders, turbocharge our economy, and bring back the American dream. That's what's happening, too. It's met with tremendous approval and reception. And when we were thinking about doing it, we were going to break it down into 3, 4, 5, 6, or even 7 bills. And I said, let's make it one big, beautiful bill, Mike, right?
Beautiful. It's beautiful.
They actually said it would be very much harder to get this way, but it would be better. And the truth is, I think it worked out well because there's something for everybody. And I think in many ways, much better. We're delighted to be joined by Secretaries Marco Rubio, Scott Bessent, Pete Hegseth, Doug Burgum, Doug Collins, Sean Duffy, Howard Lutnick, Linda McMahon, Brooke Rollins, Scott Turner, Chris Wright. Wow, that's a hell of a group. I think that's the biggest.
Everybody's in the house.
That's
today.
the biggest group of cabinet members. That's the biggest group of cabinet, and we're not finished yet because we have our great Attorney General Pam Bondi here, U.S. Trade Representative, and he's working around 24 hours. We have them one after another. Countries come. Everybody wants to be with us because we have the hottest country in the world. A year ago, we had a disaster on our hand.
Yes, we did.
We had the coldest country, I think, by far. And now we have the hottest. The King of Saudi Arabia, when I was there, we brought back $5.1 trillion between Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and UAE. And all three said, great leaders, they all said to me the same thing. You know, it's amazing. In 4 months at that time now it's getting to be close to 6. But in 4 months, they said, you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. It's not even close. And they thought we were dead a year before that. They said, I thought you were dead. The country was dead. And it was pretty close to it. But we have the hottest country in the world, so it's great. And Trade Representative Jamieson Greer is very busy because, where are you, Jamieson? Everybody wants to make a deal and have a part of it, right? I know you and Howard and Scott are working overtime, making deals with other countries. Remember a few months ago, the press was saying, do you really have anybody of any interest? Well, we just signed with China yesterday, right? Just signed with China. We have everybody. We're not going to make deals with everybody. Some we're just going to send them a letter, say, thank you very much. You're going to pay 25, 35, 45%. That's the easy way to do it. And my people don't want to do it that way. They want to do some of it, but they want to make more deals than I would do. But we're having some great deals. We have one coming up, maybe with India, very big one, where we're going to open up India. In the China deal, we're starting to open up China, things that never really could have happened. And the relationship with every country has been very good. And we also have OMB Director, who's very busy also, Russ Vought. Thank you. Thank you, Russ. And also, I want to give a very special thank you. This is a hell of a group we have here. This is amazing, the quality of people. But actually, I like these people and most of those people much better than the people I just named, okay? But a very special thanks as well to Speaker Mike Johnson, who's a great, legendary guy. He's going to go down as a legend. A great friend of mine, a fantastic Senator, Roger Marshall, wherever you may be. Roger, thank you very much. Thank you. Bernie Moreno, great win Bernie had in Ohio. Bernie, great win. That was a tough race. They said that was not winnable, and he won by about 5 points, so that was pretty good. So much for not winnable. Mike Lee is here. Mike, hi, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Tim Sheehy, another tremendous win.
Senator Sheehy.
Young, handsome.
Seems like a nice guy.
That was another race that wasn't supposed to be able to be won. They said, well, we have a very young, handsome guy. I said, does that matter? Looks don't matter, do they, Mike? Looks. Anyway, great job.
You think attractive people have an easier time winning elections?
That was a great race, along with Representatives Paul Gosar, Greg Murphy, Tom Kaine, Jen Kiggins, Rob Bresnahan, who's a, where is Rob? Stand up, Rob. Let me see you. Good. He's done a fantastic job. And Ryan McKenzie. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you all. That's great. It's a big group of people. We're here this afternoon to share the stories of an incredible group of patriots from across the nation whose future we are defending with the one big, beautiful bill. This is the ultimate codification of our agenda to, very simply, a phrase that's been used pretty well by me over the last 10 years, but maybe even before that, make America great again. Very simple, make America great again. When Joe Biden used to get up and say, we will stop this horrible MAGA. We're going to stop MAGA. We're going to fight it. We're going to. I said, Joe, loosen up. It's called Make America Great Again. It's okay. Remember that he got up so angry.
That voice, the Joe Biden voice.
Make America great again. But we'll deliver a record tax cut, a record spending cut, a record investment in border security. We've done so well on the border. You know, last month, we had 0 people that crossed the border. 0. So Christie and Tom Homan and some of the people, what a job you've done. But, you know, people forget about that. They don't care. The border's been fixed. I wanted to talk about the border 2 days ago at a big group. Sir, they don't want to hear about the border. Why? It's fixed. You know, it's the second time it happened to me. In 2016, I won on the border. I fixed it in about 3 months. It was beautiful. And they wouldn't let me talk about the border. Sir, nobody wants to hear about the border. But we're going to talk about it anyway. Right, Tom Homan? We're talking about it anyway. So we have a big number of dollars that's coming here because we want to keep it that way, and we want to keep it fixed, and a record number of deportations. We're bringing criminals out by the thousands. Nobody can even imagine. They let people in that were murderers, 11,888 murderers, gang members, people from mental institutions and insane asylum. You know what that is? That's insane asylum. That's a mental institution on steroids. During the campaign, I talk about the late, great Hannibal Lecter. Do you know who that is, Hannibal Lecter? Silence of the Lambs. I'd talk about it, and the fake news would go crazy. Why does he keep mentioning? Well, because we won in a landslide. That's why they don't want to have. They don't want to have Hannibal in our midst. And the day I signed this bill into law, almost every major promise made in the 2024 campaign already will have become a promise kept. And that's very important. Promises made, promises kept. And according to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for the normal family of 4 by at least $13,000, and that takes place immediately. That's not bad, right? Look, I'm looking at that guy back there.
It's a big deal.
Right? It's pretty good. And if we had a person over at the Fed that would lower interest rates a little bit, that would be helpful too. It's hard to believe. This is on top of, we have to fight this guy. He's not doing the job. Each point that he keeps it up is the equivalent of $300 billion. $300 billion. So if he lowered it to, it would save $600 billion. We have to work hard with cuts on that, right? That's a lot of cutting. And this guy could do it so easily. We don't have inflation. Well, we might have inflation. Yeah, and if you do, you raise the rate a little bit. That's okay. But we're going out because
they've been
Biden
saying
gave us a lot
inflation
of
for 7 months now.
Short-term debt. And given the short-term debt, he did us no favor. So I think what we'll do is we'll probably just extend the short-term debt and then go out, because I don't want to tie it up for 10 or 15 years at a high rate. But every point is it's really more, is $300 billion. So if we got it down to 1%, we're talking about almost $1 trillion in saving just with the stroke of a pen. No work, no missing anything, just like an accounting situation. Oh, Doug Collins, I just see Doug. Did I mention you, Doug? I don't think so. I'm glad I saw you. I'm glad that somebody's going to be in big trouble with you. They didn't write your name down, Doug. Somebody's in big, somebody's in, I got you. So we think of that, though. We save, and all you have to do, it's so simple. I'm explaining to this guy, and Biden extended him. That wasn't good. I'm explaining to him, you can do so much for our country. You could save $1 trillion just with a stroke of a pen. Just the utterance of a sentence that we're going to be cutting.
Jerome Powell.
It's a shame. It's a shame. We're one of the highest. We should be the lowest. We're the United States of America. We'd have money coming in like at levels that they have never seen. I got a call the other day from the people in Congress because we're doing our bill. I didn't even tell you this, Mike, and they called. They said, there's something wrong with the numbers, sir. I said, what's wrong? I don't know. They're not balancing out. There's something really wrong. I said, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, we don't know. I said, what's the problem? We're taking in much more money than we have scheduled. I said, so far, that sounds good.
We have another
They said,
11
how much
months
is it? About
of
$80
Jerome
billion.
Powell, folks,
I said, do me
at
a favor,
most.
check the tariff line.
11 months.
They called me back an hour later. Sir, we've taken in $88 billion in tariffs. Isn't that a beautiful thing? $88 billion. I thought I'd tell these little stories. Go off script and tell these little stories, Scott, right? Because it does make it a little more interesting. Although my speechwriters have just gotten every award in the book. Vince, where are you, Vince? Where are we? Where's Ross? He's gotten all these awards, and I'm going off the record all the time. Where is he? He didn't show up to the speech. He wrote the speech. He didn't show. Well, that means he has confidence in me. According to the Council of Economic Advisors, these reforms will protect or create more than 7 million jobs, add 3.1% to economic growth, reduce taxes for the typical American by nearly 15%, and increase take-home pay for a normal family by an incredible $13,000. All of these things are happening. And by the way, there's no inflation. All of the numbers I gave you, all of the money that's coming in, and maybe more importantly than the billions of dollars we're taking in with tariffs,
good.
is the fact that we've got hundreds of plants going up all over the United States that never would have been here. I was with Howard and Scott and Texas Instruments the other day, and the head of Texas Instruments, they're going to spend $60 billion in the United States. And he said, sir, please don't do it to me. And I looked at him. I knew exactly what he meant. He said, you mean tariffs, right? He said, that's right. If you ever get rid of those tariffs, you've cost me a fortune. They're all coming in because they don't want to pay the tariffs, and they're coming in at levels. And it only works for the United States because it doesn't work for other countries, but it works for us. We have a record investment. We have records and everything. And when these places open up, that's bigger than the $15 trillion that I'm talking about. You don't see it right away. But bigger is the fact that they're all coming in, they're building their factories, the AI factories and the auto plants. We have auto plants, they're closing up in other countries. I don't want to specifically name the countries, but you know who they are. And they're coming into the U.S. and they're opening up and building like nobody's ever seen anything like it. I don't call it a miracle. I call it, this should have been done 40 years ago, we would have never lost our auto. We lost 50% of our auto industry to China, Mexico, Canada, and various other countries. Should have never happened if you had a president that said, we're going to charge you tariffs. You're not going to build next to us. Send it in and take away our jobs. If you would have said 25, 50, or 100% tariff, not one company would have left. But they weren't business people. They were politicians, not very good ones, and some good ones, but some really not good at anything, to be honest with you. We're going to stop the largest tax hike, and we're going to do that in history. This would be, if the bill doesn't pass, there'll be a 68% tax increase. Think of that, 68%, which would be the largest in history by about 40 points. And we'll make the Trump tax cuts permanent, expand the child tax credit, and we will deliver no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, and no tax on Social Security for our great seniors.
There you have it. That's a bunch of good stuff. There you have it. All right. Okay.
Among the countless citizens who will benefit from these tax cuts is Malachi Krzyzewski, a devoted mom and DoorDash driver from Ripon, Wisconsin, who uses her tip income to support her son. Just think of that, no tax on tips, and it was a very big problem. I was at a dinner in my beautiful building in Las Vegas.
They got to pass the bill here pretty soon.
Unrelated to this, and I said, what's going on? I will never say good-looking waitress because looks don't matter anymore, you know, in our modern society. She happened to be beautiful, but I won't say that. I won't mention that. But nevertheless, a waitress came over, and I said, how are you doing? She said, not good, sir. Why? The government is killing me on tips. And she looked at me, she said, sir, there should be no tax on tips. I said, say it again. There should be no tax on tips. I said, that's the coolest thing I've ever heard. I walked outside, the press was there, as always, waiting for something bad to happen, hundreds of them. I said, ladies and gentlemen, please announce tonight there will be no tax on tips. And a legend was made. We won Nevada by so much. Republicans don't win Nevada. We won Nevada. So I want to thank that young, beautiful waitress. Thank you very much.
There you have it. What about tax on YouTube tips? What about on Super Chats?
But with no tax on tips and other cuts, this bill will save Malachi thousands of dollars per year, enabling her to achieve her goal of visiting every U.S. state with her son. She wants to visit every state by the time he's 18 years old. So, Malachi, it sounds to me like you're off to a fantastic start. And where are you, Malachi? Where are you? Congratulations. Great. That's good. Thank you. Also with us today is Luke Wilson, a 23-year-old electoral lineman. He lives
That's a tough job.
He loves being an electrician, but in this case, the lineman. And these are guys that take big risk, and it's hard stuff. But if you know what you're doing, it's fine. He's from Harmony, Pennsylvania, as well as Dee Sova, a truck driver from Springfield, Missouri, where, by the way, our beautiful planes landed, our B-2s, they landed after 36 hours of flying. Great going, Pete. And they hit the target. And they hit the target, and the target has now been proven to be obliterated, just as we said. We had little fake news from CNN. Thank you very much, CNN, for that. With 3 million miles of driving under her belt, who mentors other women in her industry. And I just want to say, Luke and Dee spend countless hours working overtime to help make this country run. And this bill, the typical overtime worker like them will take home nearly $1,500 extra every single year. So you're talking about at least $1,500, and there will be no harassment because you were being harassed by the Democrats.
Darn it.
So Luke and Dee, congratulations to you both. Thank you very much. Congratulations. Wherever you may be. Thank you.
There you go.
Also with us is James Benson, a third-generation auto worker from Belleville, Michigan, who has spent 26 years at Ford Motor Company, which is doing very well. They have a lot of plants in this country. If you have plants in this country, you're going to make a lot of money. And is a member of a tremendous group of people, auto workers. And I'll tell you, we love these people. Auto workers for Trump, and I came through for them, but they were with me long before I really thought. A lot of people said, is he going to run again? Will he run? They've always been with me, the auto workers. James was a lifelong Democrat until 2017 when he saw the benefits of our tax law, and he also liked Trump. Now, sometimes they can like the law, but if they don't like the candidate, it's not going to matter, right? Is that right, Marco? Marco knows, because he has been one hell of a great Secretary of State, right? Stand up, Marco. Everybody respects Marco, right?
Rubio.
True. Everybody respects him. Now we're delivering an even bigger win for the auto workers by making interest on car payments fully tax deductible. You know, that's something only rich people seem to have gotten. I said, you know, and that was my idea. It's pretty simple. But I said, you know, the rich people, they always looking for deductions. We want deductions. Linda, did I say, will you please stand up? Linda McMahon.
Finkel, we're going to talk a lot about that later in today's show. Thank you very much. Thank you.
How much is Harvard going to be charged? How much are you asking for Harvard? Because they really have violated a lot of different caveats, haven't they? Huh? A lot, like a lot. They've been given $5 billion over the years. Can you imagine? And that's over a short number of years. That's just the beginning. They have $52 billion sitting in the bank, and they haven't been nice to our country. So I want to thank Linda McMahon, who's been really fantastic. But I said on interest, I said, why couldn't we, if a car is made in the United States only, because otherwise we don't care if it's made someplace else, give the people that buy the car a deduction on the interest that they're paying to buy the car. And people said, what a great idea. It's so simple. It's like the paperclip. Somebody came up with the idea of a paperclip many years ago, 1817. And he became a very rich person. And everybody looked at it and said, why the hell didn't I think of that? But it's like the paperclip, but only if the car is made in America. Remember that, James. We're going to keep those Michigan auto factories roaring. And as you know, we won Michigan by a lot, Susie, right? We won Michigan by a big margin, and something that typically is not easy, but I think we won it. I actually think we won it 3 times in a row. So it's been a great state, but a big factor with the auto workers. They went with us very big, and I love them. The One Big Beautiful Bill will also be an incredible victory for American farmers, another group that we did great with, especially family farmers like James Cullifer of Virginia Beach. Our bill will provide 100% expensing so they can buy a new farm equipment. And by the way, the expensing is good for everybody, not just farmers. And it'll virtually eliminate the so-called estate tax or the death tax. So you have a farm, you leave it to your children. If you like the children, you leave it. If you don't worry about the details. No, some people don't want to leave them. They don't like their kids, you know? Anybody in here not liking their children, farmers? But if you like your kids, you want to leave it. And a lot of times what was happening before I got there, because I put this in the first tax bill, as you know, but people would die. They'd leave their farm. There was no cash, but there was value to the farm, sometimes good value. It's called real estate rich and cash poor. And the kids had no money, and they'd be foreclosed out by a bank. They'd borrow money to pay the estate tax. You don't have to pay estate tax anymore. That's pretty big stuff. So for the farmers and for others in small business, it's great. But James's family has been working in the land for generations, and with this bill, we will ensure that family farms like his can stay in the family for many generations to come. Where's James? James, around? Where's James?
You don't want to disrespect the farmers. There he is. You got to take care of the farmers.
That's great. And you know what I mean, James, right?
Thank you again, Raya. Thank you.
Pass away, they love their kids or whoever they're leaving, but they love their kids especially. And you won't have the family farmer anymore the long time because they were losing them to the banks, and they were losing them at record numbers. It's not going to happen anymore. There's no tax. We're also going to empower American parents by expanding opportunity scholarships to provide school choice. School choice is a big deal.
Very important.
And we just got school working with the governor of Texas, as you know, Greg Abbott. We just had it passed in Texas, and I know about that. Somebody said, yeah, that was a big deal. They've been trying to get it for 9 years, and they asked me if I'd call the legislature, Republicans in the legislature, and I did. And I gave them a pep talk, and everybody voted for it. First time, they were shocked. but they never asked me to call them before. This was the first time, and they got it passed, right, Susie? It was amazing. And it was something that Dan and Greg and everybody, they really wanted it. And Ted Cruz wanted it badly. They all wanted it, so we got it in Texas. But you're going to have it, more and more people are talking about school choice. Good thing. This will be the godsend for mothers like Angelina Banks from Philadelphia. Where's Angelina? Where is Angelina? Oh. Oh.
What happened to her?
Oh, you are very pretty. She went out for a second and she's coming back. Okay? Where's Ange? Come on over here, Angelina. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, wow. How are you? I won't ask you where you've been, okay? I promise. But it's great to have you. It's great to have. I mentioned your name. I said, "Where's Angelina?" He said, "She'll be right back, sir." Thank you very much.
Trump really is. He's such a nice guy.
And Aubrey and Ava
really
Jane, Angelina says the tax relief for child care and education are a foundation for stability and dignity. I think those were your words, right? Stability and dignity. Good words. For her family, and with the One Big Beautiful Bill, we're delivering both, empowering hundreds of thousands of families to choose the public, private, charter, religious school, or the home school of their choice. And Angelina, thank you very much for being with us. Beautiful. Beautiful. So this bill will also be the single most important piece of border legislation ever to cross the floor of Congress.
That's
we will
right.
hire 3,000 new Border Patrol officers and 10,000 new ICE agents.
Wow.
And these people are great. I tell you what, I got to know a lot of them. And we have tremendous representation.
We gotta have that.
For me
We
from
need
day
that.
one. In fact, I shouldn't say this, but they endorsed me when I first ran, almost at the beginning. And they weren't sure if they were allowed to endorse me. And they said, "We don't care, we're endorsing you." But they were great, and they've been my friends ever since. But think of that. So we're going to hire 3,000 new Border Patrol officers, 10,000 new ICE agents. And, you know, these ICE guys, they go into war zones, and they're tough, and they love our country. And if you're not going to be tough, you're not going to do well. But they are tough, and they'll break into a pack, and they call them a pack. Some of these packs come out of the jails of Venezuela. They come from places that you don't want to know about. They're gang members that have been all sent in here through Biden's open door stupid policy. The dumbest policy, I think, well, we have a lot of dumb policies, but the worst, I think, is open borders, where anybody comes into our country totally unvetted, totally unchecked. And they're drug dealers, and they're
Big
people
problem.
that we don't want them. And they're murderers, you know, they're murderers.
problem.
I told you, over 11,000 murderers. They're in here. 50% of those, by the way, murdered more than one person. And they came in, no check-in, no anything. It's so sad. What that man has done to this country, we should never forget it, okay? We should never, ever forget it. With that whole group of people, I don't even think it was him. He didn't believe in open
It was
borders.
all of
He
them.
didn't believe
That's right.
in men playing in women's sports.
That's right. It
or
was all of them.
transgender for everybody. But what that group of people has done to
Transgender
this
for
country will never, ever, I don't think we can ever allow history to forget it. What they've done to us is so sad. We're going to fully fund the final sections of border wall, impose a new remittance tax on money sent back to foreign countries, and dramatically increase deportations to a bare minimum of 1 million illegal aliens per year. And what we're doing is we're really going after the criminal aliens, of which we have plenty to work with. People say, well, that's a lot, isn't it? Well, remember, these countries are very smart. They're headed up by people I know. In almost all cases, they're very smart people, and they have the people of great common sense. They're not sending their good people out. They're sending the bad people out, and they put them into caravans. I think I came up with that name, but somebody did. It's a great name, a caravan. Thousands, and sometimes as many as 30,000 people walking right into our country. Again, last month we had none. Think of that. It's almost, people say it's almost impossible. But they come in, and at a minimum, they're not people that work very hard. They're people that are on welfare. They don't want them. They don't want them. They give them to us.
Yep.
It's incredible what's happened, and it's so sad to see. It's so sad. It could make you just sick to your stomach when you think about it. I was going to say it could make you cry, but I like to pretend I never cry. I don't want to be a crier, but it makes you sick to think of what they did. What they did to us is just sick. And guys, if we didn't have a Tom Homan, and if we didn't have some of the guys that we have working so hard
Stephen
and
Miller,
dangerously,
all the
country
ICE
wouldn't
agents,
stand a chance. But we're
Border
getting them
Patrol.
out, not as fast as they came in, because they came in and you'd see hundreds of thousands pour into our country in a day. But we're getting them out. And here today is Angel Dad Joe Abraham, the Angel Moms and Angel Dads. These are incredible people. They lost their precious 20-year-old daughter, Katie, in a hit and run after she was struck by an illegal alien from Guatemala.
That's evil.
Katie was
Terrible.
stopped at a traffic light, rear-ended, full force, going 60, 70 miles an hour right into the back of her car while she stopped.
How can that not piss you off? That pisses
She
me off.
died immediately. And her killer, I think you could really say, the killer fled the scene.
Yep.
And Joe, we will end this invasion once and for all, and we're always going to remember the memory of Katie, that beautiful, beautiful 20-year-old daughter of yours. Where's Joe? Is she around here? Joe? Come here, Joe. Come here.
That's tough. That's very sad. Yep. It is.
Ah, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy. Thank you, Joe, very much. Also with us is Sarah Stewart from Kerrville, Texas, who lost her brother to the fentanyl epidemic that has inundated her small town. Our bill provides billions and billions of dollars to stop fentanyl and other illicit narcotics. We're also charging other countries like Mexico, Canada, and China billions of dollars in taxes that we put on because they've allowed people that are selling fentanyl to go through their countries, or in the case of China, they send it here, and paying a lot of money at least, but would rather stop it. I think we're doing a big job of that, but would rather stop it. And other illicit narcotics pouring across the border and stealing more American lives. And thank you, Sarah will not rest until that fight is done. We're going to get that fight done. Sarah Stewart is where? Sarah? Hi, Sarah. Beautiful. Thank you. Good guy, huh? Yeah. I can see that. I also want to thank the president of the National Border Patrol. His name is Paul Perez. He's been with me from the beginning. And Brandon before him. These are great people. I've gotten very friendly with some of these people from Border Patrol and ICE, because I'd call them once every 2 or 3 days. How we doing? How we doing? How we doing? If you remember, Kamala was the border czar, and in 4 years she never made one call to Paul or Brandon or anybody else. And I'd like to have Paul come up, say a couple of words, if you're here. Paul? Where are you, Paul? Oh, there you are. Go ahead, Paul.
President Trump made promises that he's kept. Now it's time for Congress to back him up. We need to end the chaotic and recklessness that Biden allowed into this country. The millions of people that are out there, we're going to get with this big, beautiful bill. We've got the funding, we've got the technology, we need everything in that bill to get it done so that no more families are victimized. And those that have victimized families, we can go get them out with ICE. Our officers and agents are not afraid. We're ready to take this fight to them, and we've been so because of President Trump's leadership. Thank you, sir.
There you have it. 10,000 new ICE agents. That's a lot of ICE agents. That's a lot.
He's been a great friend of the country. He really has, and he's worked with Tom Homan and Christie and all the people that work so hard. They have been incredible. And, I wasn't going to do this, but I see Tom Homan is sitting there, and, I have to call him up. Look at that. I don't call up the Speaker of the House. I don't call up Marco or Peter or anyone. But I want to call this guy because this guy is keeping us very, very safe. Come on up, Tom.
Who's that? Oh, Tom Homan.
Well, look, I think this issue of the big, beautiful bill should be nonpartisan. I don't know what the hell's the matter with everybody up in Congress?
I love Tom Homan.
People are dying every day. ICE is arresting 3 times as many criminals that the Biden administration did. We're taking public safety threats and national security threats off the street every single day. But we got over 600,000 illegal aliens with criminal histories walking the streets of this country. We got less than 5,000 deportation officers. This should be a no-brainer. The more resources we get, if we get this bill passed, we got more agents on the road. We buy more beds, we get more transportation flights. More agents means more bad guys arrested, taken off the streets of this country every single day. Every day we arrest a public safety threat or national security threat. This makes this country much safer. Who the hell would be against that? And I get irritated, I get pissed off because I'm sick of meeting angel moms and dads. You want to talk about family separation? They buried their children. So I've done this since 1984. I've worked for 6 different presidents. No one has had the success of the Trump administration. We got the most secure border in the history of this nation today.
That's true. That is true.
But we need more border wall. Border walls save lives. Women and children can't get over that wall, which means they go to a place where there's not a wall. And what's waiting on them? The men and women of the border who take care of the humanitarian needs and save their lives. We already got fentanyl seizures down half. Fentanyl seizures should be 100%. We should have 0 fentanyl coming to this country. We need money to help secure that border at a higher level. Stop the fentanyl from coming in. Stop the sex trafficking of women and children. Stop the known inspected terrorists coming across that border. Right now, I was looking at the stats today. ICE is arresting a record number of known suspected terrorists in this country, along with the FBI. With more money, we can arrest more of these people, make this country safer. This is a nonpartisan issue. Let's make this country safe again. So to the Democrats and the Republicans and the Independents, I don't care who you're from, pass the bill so we make this country safe, so we can stop the violence against ICE officers. Let's make this country safe again. And without that bill, it's going to be a hard road. We got a lot of people to look for, a lot of people to arrest, a lot of national security threats we know are in this country. We need to find them. We need more money to do that. We need more agents to do that. For God's sake, let's pass this bill and get this done.
It is partisan. Democrats don't want that. Democrats do not want a safe country. So unfortunately, it is partisan.
He got so angry he didn't even shake my hand or look at me. Just But he's right. He's right. And we have no money for the border if we don't pass this bill. We have virtually nothing. And so we're going to get it done for you, Tom, and for all of the people that have worked with you. It's been amazing, the job you've done. And just in finishing, look, this is the largest tax cut in the history of our country. They want to give you, the Democrats want to give you the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. They have things, whether it's border or economic development or no tax on tips and Social Security and no tax on overtime and all these different things. There are hundreds of things here. It's so good. And we're going to also cut costs. We're cutting $1.7 trillion in this bill, and you're not going to feel any of it. And your Medicaid is left alone. It's left the same. Your Medicare and your Social Security are strengthened. We're not cutting. The Democrats are going to destroy all 3 of them because it's not sustainable. They'll end up cutting your Medicare, Medicaid in half. So we're going to do a real job. It's so important. So if you can, call your senators, call your congressmen. We have to get the vote. I want to thank you. You have been unbelievable, Mr. Speaker. You have worked round the clock for months,
We're pushing it through. We got to make a lot of changes, though.
And, you know, I shouldn't say
really
this, but we don't want to have
Better than it was.
grandstanders where 1 or 2 people raise their vote. We don't know. And they do it to grandstand, that's all. Not good people. They know who I am, who I'm talking about. I call them out. But we don't need grandstanders. We have to get our country back and bring it back strong. And our country is going to be stronger, bigger, better than ever before. We're going to make it better than ever before. And that's despite the bad hand that we were dealt 6 months ago. We were dealt a really bad hand. We were dealt a sick hand. It's unbelievable. You know, when I came back yesterday, as you know, I made a big trip to a place where we had 28 countries represented, and we did something that's never been done. They've raised the number of money, the amount of money that they spend to $1 trillion a year, and that's for world safety. But they all asked me the same question. They said, how could you have allowed this to happen to your country? I said, I didn't do it. But they said, how could you allow people to pour in? They don't understand it. They all have borders. They have fences, they have walls, or they have just strong people standing there. You can't do it. And they said to me, you know, it's amazing that they allowed these things to happen. And it's amazing, too. I agree. You know, as a business guy, I always like to understand where the other side's coming from. What do they want? What do they get? And, you know, you can make good deals based on understanding the other side. I never understood the other side in this case. Why would they allow people to pour into our country unchecked?
Because they hate America.
I can see people wanting people to come in, and you let them come
in.
They're
not stupid. They hate the country.
You let good people. We're letting a lot of good people in, but they're coming in legally. But why would you allow people to come in that you can look at them and say, big trouble, big trouble? Why would you do it? It's nobody understands. And a lot of people say voting, but, you know, we've got to strengthen up our elections because the voting is crooked as hell. Got to strengthen it up. But it's not that. It's either they're stupid and they're not stupid, or they hate our country. But we love our country, and we're going to stop this madness. And we're going to get this bill approved, and all of the things that I've been talking about now for 2 years on the campaign trail, and we won, remember, we won every single swing state. We won by millions of votes. We won everything. We won every, it was a landslide. We won something that nobody talks about, districts. You have thousands of districts. We won 2,750 to 505. Think of that. That's why when you see a map, the whole map is red. That stands for Republican, by the way, because it stands for a lot of other things too, but it stands for Republican with a little piece of blue on each side. But that's why, think of that, 2,750 districts to 505 districts. That's what, this was a slaughter, but it gave us a mandate to do some great things. And I want to thank John Thune, and I want to thank the speaker, and I want to thank Marco and everybody here, they have been so incredible. Pam, you've been unbelievable as the Attorney General. We appreciate it. Not easy, not easy. And we're coming back faster than anybody ever thought possible. I told you what they said to me on just trips by very smart people. But we're going to make this, we're going to do this very quickly. It's happening a lot faster than even I thought possible. And we're going to be celebrating very quickly, and we're going to be celebrating for a long time because we're turning our country around. We're getting our country back. And we're ruling with common sense, you know, whether you're conservative or liberal or, as they like to say, progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore. Progressive, I think it's a beautiful word, too. That's why I call them liberal. It's too nice a word. I don't know how you can be progressive when you're turning the country backwards. But no matter what you are, it's all about common sense. And I think that's the way I've ruled. I do what's right. I want to have borders. I don't want to have transgender for anybody that happens to leave the house at a young age, the things they do. I don't want to have men playing in women's sports. That's got to be, you know, they say it's an 80-20. I think it's a 97-3 issue. It's so ridiculous.
I think so.
It's so ridiculous.
I think so.
There was a long-distance race the other day, or at least reasonably recently, and they had a top man and they had top woman, but it was a woman's race, and the man entered. He happened to be transitioned. Isn't that lovely? And he entered the race, and he beat the champion woman by 5 hours and 14 seconds.
Huh?
5 hours, that's a lot. Think of it, you're waiting 5 hours for your beautiful daughter to come in. Come on, baby, let's go. You can do it. He won by 5 hours and 14 seconds. It is crazy, and it's so demeaning, and they don't want to change. I see it the other day. Guys like Schumer, our great Palestinian senator, this guy, no, he's changed. He used to like Jewish people. Now he's totally against Jewish people. It's the most incredible transformation I think I've ever seen.
He's trans-Palestinian.
But who would allow this to happen? In other sports, the same thing. Try the weightlifting numbers someday. You want to see some big differences. In a million years, the women will never catch these numbers. It's not going to happen. And it's very demeaning to women, and I don't like it when it's demeaning to women. So we're turning the country around fast. We love you all. Thank you very much, and good luck. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. happens next, I don't know. I'm going to give this a minute here, folks. He might talk a little bit more here. Everybody's here today.
Mr. President, can Congress finish this by July 4th?
We hope so.
By July 4th. Hope so. Was that 2 weeks? Week and a half? July 4th is coming up, man. Time is moving along. Things are happening. Well, maybe there'll be a little follow-up here. I don't know. I want to let this play out just for a minute here. You have everybody up here. In the West Wing of the White House. So, folks, there was something super interesting. I didn't know this. That Tom Homan said about halfway through this broadcast during his little speech. He said right now we've got less than 5,000 ICE agents working across the country at this moment. Right now in the country, we've got less than 5,000 ICE agents. Okay. What is this bill going to do? It's going to hire another 10,000. It's going to triple the amount. You get another 10,000. We've got less than 5,000 right now. And you get another 3,000 border security agents, patrol agents working along the border. That's a big deal. Plus, it's funding for the border wall. Plus, it's more funding for the DHS to get these people. It's a massive deal. It's a massive deal. If you want all of these illegal aliens out of the country, that is what it's going to take. And you know, this is what I've given this monologue, this little speech or spiel here multiple times on the live broadcast. But folks, if we don't solve this issue with the illegal alien invasion that has taken place, no other issue matters. National debt, deficit, nothing else. Those are important. We have a lot of important issues to deal with. Unless we reverse the invasion that has taken place, nothing else is going to matter because we're not going to have a country anymore. If you give it 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I don't know, maybe less. If not only do we not turn the problem around, but God forbid, let's say the border was reopened by the next time a Democrat was in the White House. Guys, we don't have a country. The country is over its national collapse. Not a single other issue matters more than this. Every other issue rests. Every other issue that we want to solve, deficit, debt, war in the Middle East, Iran, blah, 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 but whatever, NATO, Ukraine, whatever, every other issue, transgender, this, whatever, abortion, whatever. All of that stuff depends on us actually having a country. Okay, you got to have a country to actually worry about those issues. If we don't solve this border thing and get these illegal aliens out of the country, none of those issues are going to matter. You're not even, country's over. Okay, so folks, I think that this event is, I think our event is over. I went live a little bit earlier today, a couple hours early, so we could do a live broadcast of this event. So now, folks, we are going to move on with the rest of the show, and we have a lot to talk about today. So if you guys can just bear with me here, I think we should just jump into all this. I'm going to, give me one moment here. There's that. I'm going to get rid of this up there. Folks, all right, that was a great live event about the big, beautiful bill. Ladies and gentlemen, just in as of a couple hours ago, okay, this is earlier today, Republican Representative Andy Ogles has just formally requested Attorney General Pam Bondi to revoke Zohran Mamdani's citizenship and deport him back to Uganda. Zohran Mamdani right now is the Democratic candidate for mayor of New York City. The election is ongoing. They're going to have their election on November 4th, a couple months from now. He beat out Cuomo. Cuomo was running for mayor of NYC. Mamdani beat him out. He is the Democrat candidate. He is a Ugandan immigrant, communist, radical Muslim. And I'm not even joking or being hyperbolic about any of that. He is all of those things. And so we're going to read through this. Andy Ogles, once again, Andy Ogles has formally, this is a sitting Republican congressional representative, has made the request of our Attorney General Pamela Bondi to revoke his citizenship, Zoran Mamdani, and deport him back to Uganda. Mamdani was openly supporting terror organizations prior to becoming a U.S. citizen, making him ineligible to be a U.S. citizen. He's been a U.S. citizen now for 7 years, okay? He's from Uganda. He came here. He got his citizenship. Let's read what this actually says here. I'm going to open this up. I want to read through this with you folks, and the other one is right there. Let me get both of those ready. Okay. To the Honorable Pam Bondi, Dear Pam Bondi, I write to request that the Department of Justice open an investigation into whether Zoran Kwame Mamdani, currently a candidate for mayor of New York City, should be subject to denaturalization proceedings under this code on the grounds that he may have procured U.S. citizenship through willful misrepresentation or concealment of material support for terrorism. Is anybody here an immigrant to the U.S.? You got citizenship. Maybe your wife or your husband has a green card or something. I was telling this story earlier. My wife is an immigrant from Germany. She got her green card 5 years ago. We did it the legal way from Germany. And the final step of her getting her green card was she had to have an interview, kind of like an interrogation with a U.S. immigration agent. And this agent asked her a series of, I don't know, probably 25 or 30 different questions. Two of these questions stuck out in my mind. One of them was, have you ever been a part of a communist organization? One, and if you were, you don't get a green card. If you were a communist and you're trying to be an immigrant and get a green card, you can't. If you have been a part of a foreign communist organization, you're not allowed to get a green card in the U.S. Another one was, have you ever shown support for a terrorist organization? This is part of the immigration process here. They ask you the question, have you ever been a communist? Have you ever shown support for a foreign terrorist organization? If yes, you don't get a green card. God forbid, and on top of that, you can't become a U.S. citizen either. That's the next step, green card, then citizen. So not only can you not get a green card, you also can't become a citizen. Guess what? He's done all of this. We're going to keep reading here. According to public reports, including a June 21st, 2025 New York Post article, Mr. Mamdani expressed open solidarity with individuals convicted of terrorism-related offenses prior to becoming a U.S. citizen. Specifically, he rapped, I guess he's also a rapper, he's a Ugandan communist radical Muslim rapper, terrorist supporter. He's a former rapper. Specifically, he rapped, "Free the Holy Land, 5 my guys." Free the Holy Land, 5 my guys. The Holy Land Foundation was convicted in 2008 for providing material support to Hamas, a designated foreign terrorist organization. Yeah, that's not good. Publicly praising the foundation's convicted leadership as my guys raises serious concerns about whether Mr. Mamdani, held affiliations or sympathies he failed to disclose during the naturalization process. Well, he also he's done a lot of communist stuff, talking about being a communist on social media. We're going to talk about that here pretty soon, but I'm going to keep reading. While I understand that some may raise First Amendment concerns about making legal action based on expressive content such as rap lyrics, speech alone does not preclude accountability where it reasonably suggests underlying conduct relevant to eligibility for naturalization. Listen, here's my thing. If you are an immigrant to this country, I'm sorry, I don't think the Constitution ought to apply to you in the same way that it does to American citizens. In fact, the Constitution agrees with me. The Constitution says, it says at the very beginning, anybody that has gone back and read it, the Constitution is for everybody that falls under the jurisdiction of the United States of America. If you're an illegal immigrant, if you snuck in the country, if you've overstayed your visa, you are not, quote, under the jurisdiction of the United States government in the same way that a U.S. citizen is or that a legal resident is. So if we're talking about constitutional rights for people that are here illegally, that snuck in, that are communists, that are terrorist supporters, listen, I'm sorry. This is my opinion. They should not have the Constitution should not be applied to them in the same way that it is for people that are, one, here legally, or people that are actual American citizens. That's my opinion. The Constitution says that in essence. It says under the jurisdiction thereof. Now, this is up for interpretation. You got to ask the Supreme Court, but there's my take on it. Okay, now, anyway, so supporting terrorist, whatever. Oh, he's a rapper. Okay. Moreover, Mr. Mamdani has recently refused opportunities to reject the pro-terrorist rallying cry to, quote, globalize the intifada. He has said that. Globalize the intifada. A call to expand violent attacks on civilians to the United States and around the world. While political speech in isolation is not disruptive, in light of earlier expressions of admiration for individuals convicted of supporting terrorism, a troubling pattern emerges that warrants formal scrutiny. The naturalization process depends on the good faith disclosure of any affiliation with or support for groups that threaten U.S. national security. If Mr. Mamdani concealed relevant associations, that concealment may constitute a material misrepresentation sufficient to support denaturalization, mean kick him out, under federal law. The federal government must uphold public trust by ensuring that citizenship is not granted under false pretenses. Folks, yes or no? Was Mamdani's citizenship granted under false pretenses given he is a terrorist supporter and a communist? These two things are disqualifying factors if you're trying to get a green card, become a legal resident, or become a citizen. So the answer to my question is yes. His citizenship was granted under false pretenses. He lied about his various affiliations. I respectfully urge the Department of Justice to determine whether Mr. Mamdani's conduct prior to naturalization warrants formal review under applicable law. Sincerely, Andy Ogles, Member of Congress, Republican State Representative. Addressed to Pamela Bondi, Attorney General. So, folks, like I said, I want to read this again, just in case anybody's tuning in. Representative Andy Ogles has just formally filed a request to Attorney General Pam Bondi to revoke Zohran Mamdani's citizenship and deport him back to Uganda, really where he probably belongs. Now, let's talk about why this guy's a problem. Okay, this is a leaked, sort of campaign memo that was supposed to be sent out to supporters of Mamdani. Most certainly, we are not supposed to have this. He doesn't want us to have this. He doesn't want you to see this. But guess what? I found it, and now we're going to take a look at it. This is Zohran Mamdani's secret plan that he's sending out to his big campaign donors. His plan to Trump-proof, quote, Trump-proof New York City. I want to show you guys this. Donald Trump is tearing at the fabric of New York City in his second term. He has deployed ICE agents to pluck New Yorkers from their families. Guess what? They're not New Yorkers. They're actually called illegal aliens. That's why, listen, are American citizens being deported? Are legal residents being deported, apprehended, detained, sent out of the country? No. The only people being apprehended by ICE and deported are what? Illegal aliens, people that have invaded this country, people that should not be here, people that are a burden on this country. American taxpayers are subsidizing their existence and also being brutalized by them with crime and fentanyl, all types of terrible stuff. President Trump has sent already high prices skyrocketing with his tariffs, and he has threatened vital social services that working New Yorkers rely on every single day. Have prices in this country gone up as a consequence of President Trump's tariffs? The answer, we already know this is a fact. No, they have not. In some instances, prices have gone down. No, this is ridiculous. Prices are sky high. Listen, we have now, 4 months straight of jobs reports, economic data. The interest rates are down. President Trump's economy is on fire. We know that. And he's only been in the White House for 6 months. We're only getting started. He says, Mr. Mamdani, we need a mayor who will stand up to President Trump. Not like someone like Andrew Cuomo, who Trump has always gotten along with. Zohran Mamdani will fight Trump's attempt to gouge the working class and deliver a city where everyone can afford a dignified life. Here's how. What are we going to do? Make New York City the strongest sanctuary city in the country. What is our plan? to Trump-proof New York City from the evil president. We're going to make it the strongest, most robust sanctuary in the country. This means he's going to welcome and beckon in and entice illegal alien invaders from all over the country. He's going to subsidize their existence with hardworking New York State taxpayers. This is going to be bad. This is going to be very bad. Also, listen, does anybody here from the West Coast? Anybody from Seattle, Portland, Oregon, Salem, Oregon, San Francisco, Los Angeles? Anybody here from all up and down the West Coast? What this guy's talking about doing, we have already done over here on the West Coast, and it has ended catastrophically. Everybody on the West Coast knows all of this guy's entire policy has already been tried in the last 5 to 10 years on the West Coast, and every single urban city center in the West Coast, all up and down the I-5 corridor from Canada down to Mexico, has become a catastrophic hellscape. I'm not kidding, and you guys can back me up. It's become terrible, violent, deadly, homeless people living on the side of the road, crackheads. I mean, they're not crackheads, they're fentanyl zombies, really. Drugs, gang. It's terrible. There's filth and grime and graffiti, everything. Illegal aliens everywhere. It's terrible. Anyway, that is his plan. What has happened in Portland and Seattle and San Francisco, everywhere, all up and down Tacoma, I see in the chat, that's what he wants in New York City if he becomes mayor. Now, Trump, he says, Trump will stop at nothing to attack immigrant New Yorkers and queer and trans communities. He will do everything in his power to rip our communities apart and intimidate those who stand against his administration's attacks, as we've recently seen in Los Angeles. Listen, I actually have a big issue with the way that President Trump handled Los Angeles. My issue with what President Trump did in Los Angeles is that he didn't do it 10 times harder. That's my only problem. He should have gone 10 times, maybe 100 times harder. Okay, let's keep reading here. He's using Eric Adams' legal troubles as leverage against our city, with Eric Adams now openly collaborating with ICE and Trump's deportation machine. And our city's private hospitals are folding to his anti-trans edicts. As NYU Langone decided to stop offering gender-affirming care while simultaneously warning staff not to protect undocumented patients from ICE. Illegal aliens, am I feel like I'm crazy. I feel like I'm living in crazy town, but I know I'm not because I know you guys are here with me. Before I met you guys, before I started doing these live broadcasts, I really thought I was the one insane person in this country. Like, guys, illegal aliens should not receive free taxpayer-subsidized health care. Every single person that illegally invades and sneaks into our country should not get free health care paid for by you and me and us, the hardworking American people. I'm sorry. That is ridiculous. You need to leave. And it's food stamps, and it's hotels, and it's various other social services. It's insane. Also, maybe I'm crazy. 9-year-olds should not have taxpayer-funded gender-affirming care. Taxpayers should not be paying for 9-year-old hormone therapy or puberty blockers. In fact, nobody should be paying for it because it shouldn't be happening ever, period. Ever at all. Nobody should pay. It shouldn't even be allowed to pay for it. Continuing on. Zoran won't back down from Trump's siege on vulnerable New Yorkers. As an assembly member, he has stood up to President Trump's border czar Tom Homan and has demanded, alongside queer and trans New Yorkers, that private hospitals offer essential care. If you're a privately run hospital and a bunch of illegal aliens get in a gang shooting in downtown New York and they all come in, they're full of bullet holes, guess what? You have to pay for it. Okay? They're not going to pay for it. They shouldn't even be here in the first place. They're downtown New York having gang shootouts. They come into the hospital full of bullet holes. Guess what? Now that's your problem, American taxpayer. That's your problem, American healthcare system. You want to talk about why American healthcare system is so bad? This is not the only reason, but it's one of them. It's because we are taking care of 50 to 100 million people that shouldn't be in the country. They shouldn't be here. They're not contributing economically. They're not paying their fair share. They are leeching off of our healthcare system. Imagine a country with 50 million fewer illegal aliens. Every single aspect of our country would be better immediately, boom, overnight. Okay? As mayor, Zohran Mamdani will ensure he defends every single New Yorker from President Trump's attacks. We have a super chat here. Bass, he says, thank you for the super chat, by the way. He says, you are not crazy. We are surrounded by people with brain damage. Well, I mean, hey, if you live over here on the West Coast, it most certainly feels that way. Feels that way. Sure does. Hey, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. We have a little bit more here. Protecting immigrant New Yorkers. I'm going to zoom in. Get ICE out of all of our city's facilities and end any cooperation. So he wants to completely shut down and shut out ICE. No collaboration. Shut them out. Eric Adams' collaboration with Trump now has ICE poised to take over Rikers Island. Stationing ICE agents on Rikers Island is not about making New York safer, but about tearing families apart and throwing our communities into disarray. I have an idea. President Trump, turn Rikers Island into a modern-day real-life Arkham asylum, like from the Batman and Robin series. And what we're going to do, we're not going to put illegal aliens in Rikers. We're going to put radically progressive politicians. That's what we're going to do. All these communist, radically progressive politicians, we're going to send them to real-life, what is it called? Anyway, we're going to send them to Rikers, and we're going to have an insane asylum, and they're all going to live in safe, padded rooms. Because they are insane. They are insane. The Mamdani administration will end this collaboration with ICE immediately and ensure all city-owned or city-leased facilities remain protected from Trump's deportation efforts. The administration will also ensure that no city resources are used for immigration enforcement. Like, folks, we thought sanctuary cities were already bad. He's just kicking it up. Like, what he wants, what this guy's going to do, he literally will turn New York City into a third world hellhole. Like, there will be 0% immigration enforcement. If you can make it into New York City, you're safe. You're free. You can do whatever you want. Now, I want to give you an example of what, folks, ladies and gentlemen, this is New Delhi, India. I'm going to pick a random spot on the map here. This, I guarantee you, just under a couple days of his leadership, this is what New York City is going to look like. See that? Do you want this? Do you want this in New York City? Do you want cows walking through the streets and people pooping on the sidewalk? Because this is what is going to happen. Okay, there's going to be garbage, piles of garbage everywhere. There will be 100 different people speaking 100 different languages. You're not going to be able to understand anybody. It's nuts. You thought press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish. You thought that was bad. It's going to be press 3 for this, press 4 for that, press 5 for this, press 6 for that. You're going to have to wait through a call list of 57 different languages in New York City. Okay, that is what is at stake here. Just in case there was any delusions about this. The Mamdani administration will end this collaboration immediately and ensure all city-owned or city-leased facilities remain protected from President Trump's deportation efforts. The administration will also ensure that no city resources are used for immigration enforcement. That also helps protect undocumented New Yorkers. Well, they're illegal. Let's call them let's call them illegal invaders that should not be here. New Yorkers from being the target of scammers and harassment because they won't be afraid to call the police or other city agencies for help. Overall, sanctuary laws make us safer, including by allowing undocumented people, and then it cuts off to probably talk to the police. So, real quick, okay, snap back to reality. Folks, are sanctuary cities actually safer than non-sanctuary cities? Yeah, the answer is no, not even close. Like by like a factor of 5. Okay, homelessness, crime, drug abuse, violence, gang violence, all of these things, human trafficking, human smuggling, whatever, blah, 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 blah. All of these things, this is what happens inside of a sanctuary city. Okay? Sanctuary cities, it's funny, they're sort of ironically named. A sanctuary city is only a sanctuary for illegal alien invaders. However, for hardworking tax-paying American citizens or legal residents that are living in that city, sanctuary city, it really just means hell on earth. It means hellscape. It means you are in the 7th layer of Dante's Inferno, surrounded by a bunch of corporeal demons. Okay, that is what that means. Just so we're very clear about that. So anyway, so this is his secret campaign memo. This is his plan to turn New York City into the strongest sanctuary city in the country, is what he wants to do. But wait, folks, guess what? We have some good news. Okay, we're not done with this guy yet. Right now, there are murmurings amongst people on the right side of the aisle. President Trump should invoke the Communist Control Act of 1954 to block Zohran Mamdani from becoming a mayor of New York City. This is an act that was, this is an old law. This isn't even a new law. This is already on the books. President Trump could do this. This got passed by Congress 70 years ago, 1954. It's called the Communist Control Act. The DOJ can easily establish communist ties, given Mamdani has openly boosted and described himself as a communist on numerous occasions. He should also lose his status as a naturalized citizen, given he began associating with communists within 5 years of becoming a U.S. citizen. I'm going to read this. Long title. This is an act to outlaw the Communist Party to prohibit members of communist organizations from serving in certain representative capacities and for other purposes. This was passed on August 24th, 1954. Could you imagine if President Trump activated, he invoked the Communist Control Act from 70 years ago, 1954, to shut down this guy's campaign? Should he do it? Yes or no? I think yes. I think so. And by the way, here is Zohran Mamdani on Twitter, on X. I'm going to read this place as them. So what kind of mayor does New York City need right now? Me. He says, this is me. And then he retweeted a communist page. It's called the CPIM Peduchery. It has a communist logo, a communist symbol. Comrade Arya Rajendran, age 21, new mayor of Pee Poo Poo Land. She will be the youngest mayor of a city in the world. Here she leads a detachment of red volunteers. #communist. So he's saying, what type of mayor does New York City need? Me. I'm a communist mayor, is what he's saying. We need a mayor like me. I'm a communist. That's what New York City needs, is a communist mayor. Just like me, just like Pee Pee Poo Poo from Pee Pee Poo Poo Land down there, whatever the hell that's called. I'm not going to read. You kidding me? I speak English. Anyway, so there's that. Now, listen, we have an update. This is from Fox News, not too long. This is earlier today, just 3 or 4 hours ago. Okay, I want to do this read up. We're talking about Mayor Adams here. So Mayor Adams, by the way, is a former Democrat. He left the Democratic Party. Now he's an independent, and he is running as an independent against Mamdani, the communist Ugandan terrorist. I don't even know what you call him. I mean, all of those titles. He's a man that wears many hats. You can't deny that. No dignity in socialism, says New York Mayor Adams. He announces his re-election bid after Mamdani has officially won the Democratic primary. That happened 2 days ago. Take a look at this. And by the way, Eric Adams is the current mayor of New York City. By the way, Mayor Eric Adams, in no way is he perfect. He has caused a lot of damage to New York City. Also, a lot of the issues now have taken place over his tenure as mayor. That being said, we might be in a position where, it's kind of a lesser of two evils. Like maybe we actually might need to kind of say, hey, listen, you gotta go vote. You gotta go vote for Mayor Eric Adams, because the alternative here is a Ugandan communist terrorist supporter. Okay. Mayor Eric Adams announced his re-election campaign Thursday, that's today, on the steps of New York City Hall, surrounded by supporters, union leaders, and business partners, while protesters call him a criminal from across the park. Adams was elected as a Democrat in 2021, but chose to run as an independent this year amid low approval ratings and his since dropped federal corruption charges The charges have been dropped. In Eric Adams' absence, former Governor Andrew Cuomo was widely expected to pick up the Democratic nomination in Tuesday's primary election, but instead, 33-year-old self-proclaimed Democratic socialist Zohran Mamdani shocked the political establishment when he declared victory 2 days ago. Folks, he might say he's a Democratic socialist. Bernie Sanders says he's a Democratic socialist. You've got a couple of these Democratic socialists. Let the record show he is a communist. He knows in America the word communist, we're going to say the C word. It's a little bit socially taboo for good cause. You don't have a lot of self-espoused, self-described communists walking around. So what does he say instead? Because he knows being a communist is bad optics. He says, I'm a Democratic socialist. Folks, he's not a Democratic anything. He is a communist. He is a communist. We know for a fact. Okay. Mayor Eric Adams said, this is not a city of socialism, Adams said Thursday, in an apparent jab at Mamdani's radical policies, before adding, there's no dignity in someone giving you everything for free. There's dignity in giving you a job so you can provide for your family and the opportunities that you deserve. This is not a city of handouts. This is a city of hand-ups. And so, of course, you know what we've kind of touched upon Mamdani's plan for New York City. He wants to make it the safest, most secure, most robust sanctuary city in the entire country. He wants taxpayer-funded housing, food assistance, Medicaid, health care for every single illegal alien in the city. That's what he wants. Who's going to pay for that? You are, American taxpayer living in New York. You're going to pay for that, should he win the election. He has also, this is nuts, he's also talked about socializing all of the supermarkets in New York City. He's saying supermarkets have become so expensive, grocery stores have become so expensive, the prices are ridiculous for poor people, that we need to actually take control of these businesses with the New York City government and then lower prices by means of government. We're going to have government price control and government ownership of all the grocery stores in the city. Okay, there's a word for that. What's that called? That's called communism. We're going to move on. Mayor Eric Adams said, I'm so proud to be here to say to the people of New York, I am seeking re-election to be your mayor of New York City, Adams announced as he touted his record during his first term as mayor. Mamdani's prior victory Tuesday signals a shifting electorate in deep blue New York City. New York City is blue. That's true. You know what? If honestly, man, if I had to bet money, I bet that this guy does win. Between you and me, we got to see though. We hope not. Mamdani, whose campaign galvanized supporters on the ground and on social media, has proposed radical ideas like government-run grocery stores, free bus service, tuition-free city universities, rent freezes, and free childcare, among others. Mayor Eric Adams said he's a snake oil salesman. He would say and do anything to get elected. Is that true? Yes or no? Yes. Yes, it is. However, the incumbent, I mean, this is a classic tactic of people on the left, of these far left, radically progressive politicians. Hey, if you vote for me, everybody gets a free unicorn, and I'll buy you a house in Lollipop Land. If you vote for me, I'm a radically progressive politician. You get a free unicorn, and everybody gets a free house in Lollipop Land, and I'll buy everybody a limousine. It's a tale as old as time. Okay, and effectively, it is. I was going to say it's trying to bribe voters, and really it is. But you know, the promises are always empty. The promises are always empty. They can never fulfill on the free houses and unicorns in Lollipop Land. But they lie and they try to do it, and people buy it every time. People fall for it every time. Oh, a free unicorn and a house, a mansion in Lollipop Land, in Gumdrop, in Gumdrop universe. That sounds great. I'll vote for that guy. People get baited. They get hoodwinked by this every single time. Mamdani described his vision for New York City's future on Tuesday night as a place where, quote, where the mayor will use their power to reject Donald Trump's fascism, to stop mass ICE agents from deporting our neighbors, and to govern our city as a model for the Democratic Party. Once again, what is a fascist as far as these radical progressives are concerned? A fascist is anyone that actually enforces federal immigration law. All President Trump has done is he hasn't passed any new border security legislation. There's no new laws. He's not acting outside of the law. All he's doing is enforcing the already pre-existing immigration laws that we have, that our country agreed on democratically, by the way. The reason why we have the immigration legislation that we have on the books right now is because we arrived there through a democratic process, and now Trump is the first president in a long time that's actually trying to enforce those laws. What does that make him? A fascist, I guess, according to these people. Meanwhile, Eric Adams has built a reputation during his tenure for challenging President Joe Biden's immigration policies while vowing to coordinate with President Donald Trump's illegal immigration crackdown. Adams has cozied up to Trump since he was elected in November, visiting both Mar-a-Lago and the White House. God forbid a politician on the left actually tries to reach out across the aisle, communicate with the president of the United States to try to make the country a better place. God forbid. I mean, folks, this is another, you talk about problems on the left. They eat their own. They kick each other. They kick each other to the curb anytime one of them breaks ranks and actually tries to pursue a bipartisan solution to the problems we have in the country. So what are they saying? They're saying, oh, Eric Adams is a traitor because he had dinner with Trump one time? Because he had a conversation with President Trump? That's what you're supposed to. He's the president. That is what you're supposed to do. Even if you're not part of the same party, you should meet with him. Okay. Governor Kathy Hochul, who's a Democrat from New York, she's the governor, weighed removing Adams from office following a slew of city hall resignations after Adams' case was dropped. They are so mad that Eric Adams did not get found guilty, that his charges got dropped. They wanted this guy gone, and so now he's left the party. Adams' campaign launch was interrupted by protesters who called him an effing criminal, but his supporters took to his defense on Thursday, shouting back, 4 more years. You know who's a criminal? All of the 50 million illegal aliens that are in the country that President Trump is trying to get rid of. Those are criminals. Those people are criminals. They got to get out. Eric Adams said, you can call me all the names you want, but I'm going to answer to only one, Mayor Adams, is what he said. Adams maintained his innocence throughout the legal proceedings, claiming the trial was politically motivated. I believe it was. Even though, frankly, I'm not the biggest fan of Mayor Adams. No doubt, though. They were. Despite our pleas, when the federal government did nothing as its broken immigration policies overloaded our shelter system with no relief, I put the people of New York before party and politics. I always knew that if I stood my ground for all of you, that I would be a target, and a target I became, Adams said after his indictment in September of 2024. The dust has settled on Adams' DOJ probe, but his political future hangs in the balance ahead of November's election. A Cuomo campaign aide signaled after the former 3-term governor's concession speech Tuesday that he was leaving the door open for a possible run as a third-party or independent candidate in November. So Cuomo has now dropped out of the Democratic primary, which means now Mamdani is the Democratic candidate, which is why we're talking about this. But Cuomo is saying, he might still continue to try to run as an independent. Independents have a tough time. Cuomo said, I want to look at all the numbers as they come in and analyze the rank choice voting. I will then consult with my colleagues on what is the best path for me to help the city of New York, as I have already qualified to run for mayor on an independent line in November. Maybe he'll do that. Cuomo resigned as governor in 2021 in the face of several scandals, including sexual harassment allegations and outstanding questions about his handling of the COVID-19 nursing home. You remember the nursing home drama where he lied about that. And that is that. So folks, listen, we this like we said a moment ago, this might be one of those cases where Mayor Eric Adams maybe is the best option here. There is a Republican candidate. We don't have any really breaking news on him today, but I'll tell you what, a Republican is not going to win in New York City. That's not going to happen. If I had to place $1,000 bet right now on who's going to win this election, I would bet that it's going to be the communist radical Islam Ugandan immigrant terrorist supporter. That would be my guess. I think that is the future of New York. Unless something crazy happens, I think that is probably what happened. His name is Zoran Mamdani. New York, listen, hey, if you are in New York and you have the means to leave, you probably got to get out. Now's time to leave. Now, folks, we're going to move on to talk about the next massive story of the day. Now, President Trump is coming after the Democrats. He posted this on Truth Social not too long, a couple hours ago. He said, the Democrats are the ones who leaked the information on the perfect flight to the nuclear site in Iran. They should be prosecuted. The DOJ is involved already. President Trump, right this very moment, is looking to prosecute the leakers inside of the intelligence community. Okay, the deep state leakers. He's looking to prosecute CNN, wants to hold CNN accountable for reporting on this fake news, uncorroborated story. And any of the Democrats that have been found to be involved, he wants to prosecute them as well. He's accusing them of themselves of leaking this information. Now, Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth this morning, he had a Pentagon briefing very early in the morning. It was at 8 a.m. on the East Coast, 5 a.m. West Coast, so I think most people didn't see it. Pete Hegseth directly talked about this entire situation. And I'm going to turn on my headset here. I want you guys to take a look at this. Pete Hegseth is pissed. We also hear from, in a moment, Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt about this situation as well. Take a look.
General, on Sunday you said final battle damage will take some time. And you also said, I think BDA is still pending, and it would be way too early for me to comment on what may or may not still be there at the nuclear facility. So that was just over 3 days ago. So what has changed? Would you use the term obliterated as well?
Sure. Like I said, we don't do BDA. I'll refer that to the intelligence community. And
you're talking with them. I mean, what changed in the past 3 days that make you so, you know?
Sir, I think I said.
I think I explained what changed. There was a great deal of irresponsible reporting based on leaks, preliminary information in low confidence. Again, when someone leaks something, they do it with an agenda. And when you leak a portion of an intelligence assessment, but just a little portion that makes it seem like maybe the strike wasn't effective, then you start a news cycle, whether it's the Washington Post or Fox News or CNN or MSNBC, you start a news cycle that starts to call into question the ethics. No, that's why. So you bring the chairman here, who's not involved in politics. He doesn't do politics. That's my lane to understand and translate and talk about those types of things. So I can use the word obliterated. He could use defeat, destroyed, assess, all of those things. But ultimately, we're here to clarify what these weapons are capable of, which anyone with, two eyes, some ears, and a brain can recognize that kind of firepower with that specificity at that location and others is going to have a devastating effect. So we all recognize there will be days and weeks ahead. That's why yesterday I said, if you want to know what's going on at Fort O, you better go there and get a big shovel, because no one's under there right now. No one's under there able to assess, and everyone's using reflections of what they see. And that's why the Israelis, the Iranians, the IAEA, the UN to
You might have noticed what has happened in the mainstream legacy media is that all of these reporters in the last 3, 4, 5 days have miraculously become military munitions experts, knowing the exact details of how the MOP 30,000-pound bunker buster bomb works. You have all of these people in the mainstream legacy media that are telling you exactly, the bombing attack wasn't successful because you would expect to see some type of surface damage, as if they have any idea, as if they are experts on this, as if they know more than these two gentlemen up here that we're listening to right now, right?
a man and to a woman who recognize the capability of this weapon system are acknowledging how destructive it's been. So that's what's changed.
Just 3 or 4 days later, what changed?
See, this is a point. This is how difficult it is to actually manage. You just watched a video of what this weapon is capable of. That's where we find our confidence, is in the skill of men and women and the capability of the systems they employed and the recognition so far in the reflections that it was a highly successful mission.
Now, this video that he referenced He said, you just watched a video to see how destructive this bomb is and exactly how it works. Folks, I want to show you that video that he is talking about right now. This is the first time this bunker buster bomb test footage has ever been publicly released. They released it specifically this morning, just 8 hours ago, to shut down, or less, to shut down this entire fake news, CNN, New York Times agenda. And I want to show you, we've got bunker buster test footage. Take a look to really see how it works. So what it does is it penetrates deep into the ground. When they were testing, they actually built a fake bunker, a tunnel. They dropped it on top. Look at this. You see it coming in. Look at this. And it just pierces. It doesn't blow up at the top. It pierces deep into the hillside, and then it blows up whatever is down below, is how this works. And we've got a couple different angles here. So this is what we were talking about over the last couple days, is that with these GBU-57 bunker buster bombs, you wouldn't even expect to see any massive surface level damage, because that's not what they are designed to do. This is what it is designed to do. And then this blew my mind. Take a look at this. When the nose is 5 feet above the floor of the interior of the bunker, it has a sensor, an electronic sensor. It detects how far off the bunker floor it is, and then it detonates before it even hits the ground. Look. Boom. This thing is advanced. And then here's an image. What is the damage on the surface? This is the damage on the surface. So all of these people over the last 3, 4, 5 days that have been looking at this satellite imagery of Fordo, saying, oh, well, you know, the bombs didn't do anything because the hillside isn't even blown up. The hillside is still intact. So therefore the bunkers didn't, or the bunker buster bombs didn't do anything. Well, this is how they work. This is what they're designed to do. It looks pretty cool. Matt, it's happening. What's happening? I see a couple people talking about other things, but I'm not sure exactly. Is something crazy supposed to be going on right now? Hold up. Let me take a look. I feel like I've seen a couple people freaking out in the live chat, but I don't really think that anything is going on right now. So maybe not. Now we are going to take a look and see what Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt had to say about all of this. Take a look.
This was a low confidence preliminary intelligence assessment, and the entirety of that assessment was not leaked to the media. Only tidbits of that assessment were leaked to CNN. And we have seen this playbook run before, where you have people in the intelligence community, or perhaps on Capitol Hill, we don't know, but I believe the FBI is investigating to find out who that leaker was, because it's illegal, and they should be held accountable for that. Leaked bits and pieces of an intel assessment to push a false narrative.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. Iron Horse in the live chat wants you all to know that he thinks Carolyn Leavitt is hot. That is breaking news. I wanted to share that with you folks. I'll keep you posted on that. Any updates, I'll let you guys know. Thank you.
Narrative. And it's to the same reporter, I will add, Natasha Bertrand of CNN, who has done this in the past. In 2020, it was Natasha Bertrand who had 51 intelligence analysts falsely lie to her, but she still put it on paper for some reason, that the Hunter Biden laptop story was Russian disinformation. We all know that's not true, right? We can all agree on that now. That was a lie.
This is something that I haven't seen anybody talking about. I'm very happy that she did. This very same CNN journalist that published this fake news, unconfirmed, uncorroborated, highly speculative baloney story about how these bunker buster bombs didn't even do any damage. This story was published by the very same journalist a couple years ago in 2020 that spent months trying to cover up the Hunter Biden laptop story. So in case anybody's confused about whether or not there was this is a partisan hit job or partisan bias involved in the reporting here, absolutely there is.
From the intelligence community. Also in 2020, this same reporter, Natasha Bertrand, wrote that a top intel agency ruled out the man-made lab leak theory of the coronavirus origins.
Oh, I didn't hear about that. This very same journalist dismissed the lab leak theory and said that that was a conspiracy. Well, it seems like this journalist, everything that really did happen, she says didn't happen, and then everything that didn't happen, she says it did happen. Seems like this journalist just says everything backwards always. It's like a 5-year track record of getting every single thing wrong.
Again, the president was right about that. This reporter wrote a lie from the intelligence community to seek a narrative she wanted to prove.
Yep.
And guess what? We now know that's the truth. Also, in 2024, Bertrand pushed the suckers and losers hoax. She also pushed the fine people hoax, which was taking the president's words purposely out of context. And then last October, and I believe this is notable, Natasha Bertrand published an article in Politico from the intelligence agency. She said that John Ratcliffe was speaking without any evidence when he said Iran was attempting to undermine President Trump's presidential campaign. And then we, of course, found out that was absolutely true. In fact, the Biden administration declassed an intel report which said they had high confidence that Iran had done exactly what Ratcliffe alleged. They did run an influence campaign to hurt President Trump's candidacy. In fact, we know the Iranians tried to take President Trump's life. And so this is a reporter who has been unfortunately used by people who dislike Donald Trump in this government to push fake and false narratives. She should be ashamed of herself. And that's not what reporting is. Journalism is trying to find the facts and the truth. And this week, we saw this same reporter being used to push a fake narrative to try to undermine the President of the United States, and more importantly, the brave fighter pilots who conducted one of the most successful operations in United States history. And I think the American people fully know that this operation was a complete and total success.
Well, folks, and then we have a follow-up from CNN from just a couple hours ago. Today, CNN is calling their reporting of this fake news bullet. And by the way, listen, they knew, to be very clear, they knew this story was bogus. They knew that, once again, they're publishing a fake news story that has no basis in reality from an anonymous source. They know exactly what they are doing. They are desperate to try to tear down every single thing President Trump does to try to stop his America First agenda. And they are willing to lie and distort the truth and report on fake news stories. You know, I'll give a little bit of a personal thing. I make my news videos. I'm doing a news coverage stream right now. Folks, you know how easy it would be if every day I went live and I just made up a bunch of bullshit stories? I mean, I frankly, things would maybe be even more interesting if I went live and said, ladies and gentlemen, the Iranian Ayatollah Khamenei just blew himself up or something. It's like, wow, that's a crazy story. It's a lie though. It's a lie though, right? You see a lot of these legacy media, they're telling these bombastic lies. They know they are lies. They know what they are doing, but they're doing it anyway to try to get attention and build ratings but people are just sick of it. They know exactly what they're doing. And so now they're on the defense. Take a look at this. They say they're just asking questions.
Exclusive report from CNN on an early assessment that so far the damage from those strikes that President Trump chose to carry out by the United States on Iranian nuclear facilities on Saturday night did not have as much damage or as much impact as the president has been saying. CNN was first to report on a preliminary intelligence assessment produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency that found that U.S. airstrikes may have set Iran's nuclear program back by just a few months and did not destroy its core components.
It indicates that President Trump's comments about the destruction of these nuclear facilities and the obliteration of Iran's nuclear ambitions appear to have been vastly overstated. Much of the core components of Iran.
Once again, they knew at the time they reported this story, they knew this was uncorroborated, unverified. They knew this was a baloney, bogus story, and they ran with it anyway to try to tear down President Trump's America First agenda.
Iran's nuclear program remain intact, even though there was significant damage that was done to some of the above ground structures at these nuclear facilities. Much of the underground.
Also, I have to say, okay, I'm someone with an IQ that is like probably over 90 at least. Maybe my IQ is 91. I don't know. I'm not a genius by any means, but we all had access within 4 or 5 hours of this air raid taking place over these Iranian nuclear facilities. We all had access to the same satellite images. Okay. The narrative was President Trump dropped a bunch of bunker buster bombs. Folks, let's just think through this logically. Where is a bunker? Is a bunker above the ground or beneath the ground? A bunker is beneath the ground. Okay, that's the first thing that must be acknowledged. Then you would say, if a bomb has been specifically designed to blow up or bust a bunker, where must that bomb go? Where must that specifically designed bunker buster bomb go? It must go underground because that is where the bunker is. Therefore, would you expect the bunker buster bomb to blow up above the ground, which would be visible from satellite images, or would you expect the bunker buster bomb to penetrate deep into the ground and explode deep inside of the ground where the bunker is? Because it is a bunker buster. That is, I'm just like thinking through this. Okay, right? Is this, you guys following me? You would expect the damage, the explosive payload to be delivered deep under the ground because the bunker buster bomb has been designed to bust up the bunker. This is a fun conversation to have. But anyway, so therefore you wouldn't even expect a bunch of damage above the ground. You would expect all the damage to be not visible from satellite imagery because it's deep below the ground. But CNN is, I don't know, CNN is staffed entirely by stupid people, obviously.
Structures were not touched. The DIA found that it is likely that the Iranians could reconstitute within a matter of months.
One source says that the strike set Iran back, quote, maybe a few months, tops. Two others tell us the country's stockpile of enriched uranium was also not destroyed. Another says the centrifuges are largely intact. CNN has spoken with 7 people briefed on it.
Israel and the U.S.
Ladies and gentlemen, breaking news. CNN's ratings are as far beneath the ground as the Iranian nuclear enrichment facilities were. Man, they better hope that President Trump doesn't drop a buster bunker on their ratings then.
Have failed to target significant elements of Iran's nuclear materials and production infrastructure. Rising Lion and Midnight Hammer are tactically brilliant, but may turn out to be strategic failures.
The reality is the Iranians had lots of time to move things. We watched them bring trucks to the site. They buried the entrances to protect the site. So if they had wanted to move the material, they certainly could have.
And as we now know, that is not what happened. Now, as a consequence of all of this leaking that has gone on over the last couple days, President Trump is pissed off about it, rightfully so. President Trump has issued, I think, a very justifiable response, and we're going to read through this right now. Take a look at this. The White House, as of this morning, has decided to limit intelligence sharing with Congress after the leak of an early Iran report. Top cabinet officials are set to brief members of the Senate about this limitation on Thursday about the strikes. Take a look here. The White House plans to limit intelligence sharing with members of Congress after an assessment of damage caused by the United States strikes on Iran's nuclear sites leaked earlier this week, a senior White House official confirmed to NBC News. Now, once again, they're still, with the way they're wording this, they are still trying to push this was the assessment. This was what got leaked was not the assessment. They're still trying to push, kind of slide that narrative in there. The administration specifically plans to post less information on CapNet, the system used to share classified material with Congress, the official said. The decision, which almost certainly won't sit well with Democrats, comes as top cabinet officials are set to provide a classified briefing to members of the Senate on Thursday afternoon about the strikes. This is what they should do. They should make a distinct classified information chat channel for every single individual member of Congress, and they should make every single classified information disclosure slightly different depending on who they're sending it to, depending on which congressional rep they're sending it to. So then, if information gets leaked, they know exactly which congressional rep leaked it because they all got slightly different information. That's what they should start systematically setting up or entrapping all of these congressional leakers, because this is a serious national security problem. These are American traitors. They should try to catch these guys. Okay. Now, the administration should immediately undo this decision, said Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, who is our favorite Palestinian. He told NBC News on Thursday They seem to not want to see the facts get out there, just Trump's version of the facts, which we know is often false. Yeah, because you guys are posting the facts. Yeah, okay, we're not buying that exactly. House Speaker Mike Johnson echoed outrage from President Trump and his allies Thursday morning over the reporting of the Defense Intelligence Agency's early assessment of the U.S. strikes on Iran, which said that its nuclear program had been sent back by only 3 to 6 months. Baloney. He said there was a leak and we're trying to get down to the bottom of that. It's dangerous and ridiculous that happened. We're going to solve that problem and we'll keep the coordination. Johnson told NBC News. Could you imagine having a country with a government that isn't full of traitors? Could you just imagine how high functioning our country could be if one half of the nation, one half of our congressional body was not trying to subvert and undermine every single thing going on? Could you imagine just how great this country would be if you didn't have these people leaking information, creating national security risks, opening up our border, inviting tens of millions of illegal alien invaders, selling out American industry, all of these things? Could you imagine how great this nation could be? Man, that would be something else. If everybody here actually cared about the longevity and well-being of America, because clearly that's not the case at the moment. Despite the administration's crackdown and Speaker Johnson's suspicions, it is not known whether the leak came from a member of Congress. Lawmakers had access to the initial assessment regarding the strikes from the Defense Intelligence Agency and were able to view it in a secure location in the Capitol known as SCIF. The assessment was transmitted to leadership through these official channels. Well, somebody leaked it. Somebody leaked it. And also, by the way, I see this is a great point in the chat here, in the live chat. This right here, this entire situation is why the Trump administration did not tell any of the Democrats in advance about Operation Midnight Hammer, which is the operation during which they dropped all these bunker buster bombs on the Iranian nuclear facilities. There's a reason why they did not give them a long-standing notice or PSA about this. Is because they would have leaked it. We know every single thing that they are told they leak. We know this. The White House is expected to send 4 senior administration officials to brief senators Thursday morning. Secretary of State Marco Rubio, CIA Director John Ratcliffe, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and General Dan Kane, the Chairman of Joint Chief of Staff. 2 sources with knowledge of the matter said Wednesday. So this is what happened this morning. That happened this morning. Trump administration officials have been engaged in a full-court press since the strikes and the early assessment defending the military's targeting of 3 major nuclear facilities in Iran and claiming their total obliteration. They have. We know. Hegseth and Kane, had this briefing this morning. We watched a couple of clips from that. They said, yeah, listen, it was obliterated. There's no doubt about that. That is what happened. Now, I see a super chat here. It's from East Tennessee Patriot. He says, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for reminding me, because I am very bad at reminding people to subscribe and to like the broadcast. Folks, if you are new to the show, please do me a favor. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. That really helps a lot. First off, it's the whole YouTube algorithm. And also, if you like the stream, the live broadcast here today, that also helps a lot. Thank you. I always forget to tell people to do that. Thank you very much. Now, let's go ahead and take a look at how is the Iranian regime handling this entire situation from their point of view. We have an article here. It says Iran is trying to, quote, save face following the U.S. strike on nuclear sites, says the expert. Well, listen, we don't need an expert to know that. I want to show you guys what Khamenei himself has been. This guy has been posting all day on Twitter. He's been posting all day. This is the Ayatollah, the supreme leader. He says, 12 hours ago, I offer my congratulations on the victory over the fallacious Zionist regime. The Iranians are claiming victory. They said they won. This entire situation, they have won. They have defeated America. They've defeated Israel. Another one. With all that commotion and all those claims, the Zionist regime was practically knocked out and crushed under the blows of the Islamic Republic, he says. My congratulations on our dear Iran's victory over the U.S. regime. The U.S. regime entered the war directly because it felt that if it didn't, the Zionist regime would be completely destroyed. It entered the war in an effort to save that regime, but achieved nothing. This is from the Ayatollah himself. Man, I love Twitter, man. Can you imagine if, like, during World War II, if Churchill had Twitter and Hitler had Twitter and the Emperor of Japan had Twitter? And can you imagine, and Stalin? Can you imagine if Hitler and Stalin were shit talking each other on Twitter all throughout World War II? Man, that would have just been something else. Man. And so anyway, so now we have that. We have that right now, modern day. It's going on right now. Pastor Mike. That's a big super chat. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you. The Islamic Republic delivered a heavy slap to the U.S. face. It attacked and inflicted damage on the Al Udeid air base, which is one of the key U.S. bases in the region. 11 hours ago, the fact that the Islamic Republic has access to key U.S. centers in the region and can take action whenever it deems necessary is a significant matter. Such an action can be repeated in the future, too. Should any aggression occur, the enemy will definitely pay a heavy price. He said 10 hours ago, the U.S. president stated Iran must surrender. Needless to say, this statement is too big to come out of the U.S. president's mouth. Khamenei is out here talking all kinds of smack. You could tell he went to bed. He woke up 10 hours ago, now 3 hours ago. He woke up. The first thing he did, he's back on Twitter. He's got to keep on talking. He said, the Iranian nation is victorious and will remain victorious by the grace of God, is what he said. He said Iranians, a nation of approximately 90 million people, stood together and supported the actions of the Iranian armed forces. The Iranian nation demonstrated its greatness and exceptional character in this event. It showed that when it's necessary, a unified voice will be heard from this nation. And then one more, and then he took a break, I guess. He's having lunch right now. The Zionist regime must know that attacking the Islamic Republic of Iran will result in a heavy cost for them. So Khamenei has just been out here talking smack for the last 14 hours, just nonstop. He took a little break. He came back. He kept on doing it. He's just talking smack. And so the reason why I'm showing you what he's been saying is because we have this Fox News article here. It says, Iran is trying to save face. Is that true? Yeah, I think a little bit. I think Iran is, I think they're trying to save face a little bit. And then Monica Tibbet, by the way, super chat, she says, you are the news of today. Good stuff. Thank you, Monica. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thank you very much. Let me read this article. Let's see what's going on here. We probably have some more information here. Ladies and gentlemen, as the total damage to 3 Iranian nuclear sites continues to be assessed, one Middle East expert says that Iran's stated assessment only reinforces U.S. and Israeli views. According to the U.S. and according to Israeli intelligence sources, these Iranian nuclear facilities have been obliterated. The U.S. intelligence community says it. The Israeli intelligence community says it. And so now we're going to hear what the Iranians have to say. Israel, which has said the strikes set the Iranian nuclear program back by years, has the greatest sources in place to make a determination and the most incentive to get the facts right, said Jacob Oladort, director of the Center of American Security at the America First Policy Institute. He said, both the U.S. and Israel say they achieved their objectives. Israel presumably had planned around this for many years, and Israel said it has met its objectives, which is destroying Iran's ability to enrich uranium. I have to say, I'm a little bit shocked. I've been saying for a long time, in fact, I still think it, to be honest, maybe we're hearing something different right now. I really do believe that Israel does want regime change. It seems like they are not going to get that right now, but I think, I think deep down, I mean, and kind of like, how could they not? Like, they really hate the Ayatollah, they hate his regime. Makes sense in a lot of ways. But I really do think that Israel Yeah, the nuclear enrichment program was a part of it, but I think they would love to see regime change. At least Netanyahu and his administration, they want regime change. But President Trump is not going to, he's not going to do that. He's not going to facilitate that. Let's keep reading here. President Trump has no interest in that. The U.S. launched a surprise strike using B-2 stealth bombers and bunker buster bombs. Every time I get to say bunker buster bombs, I'm happy because it's so fun to say. On Iran's Fordow nuclear facilities, Natanz, and also the Isfahan facility. Some media reports have pushed back on the Trump administration's claims that the sites were destroyed and set Iran back years in its quest to achieve a nuclear weapon. Iran's foreign ministry spokesman, Esmail Bigai, on Wednesday told Al Jazeera that, quote, our nuclear installations have been badly damaged, that is for sure. So, okay, so there you have it. There you have the Iranian guy. What's his job? Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson has come out and said, the facilities are toast. Yeah, they have been destroyed very badly, damaged very badly. Israeli intelligence says this. American intelligence says this. Everybody with half a brain says this. And this is that mountain. Seems like yesterday we were staring at this mountain 12 hours a day on Google Maps waiting for something to happen. Well, boom, then it finally did happen. Oladort says that, quote, everything Iran is doing now is to save face. Seems to be the case. We just took a look at Khamenei's Twitter feed. There's a lot of that. Quote, we should never take anything Iran says at face value, but their assessment can only reinforce the views of Israel and the U.S. view. All right, hold up. Press 1 in the chat if you would like to go conspiratorial Alex Jones schizo mode here for a second. I just had a crazy idea. Now, do I actually think this? Not really, but it's an interesting idea to talk about here real quick. Is it possible? Is it possible that the Iranian nuclear program actually, in fact, did not take that much damage, but the Iranians are now telling us that they did take a bunch of damage because they want us to think their program has been destroyed when in reality it has in fact not been destroyed. So, because keep in mind, Iran, the Iranian foreign ministry spokesman, he is saying, you blew it up. Yeah, you blew it up. Yep. You blew it up. But however, what if it's not blown up? What if this is part of some Iranian deception, right? I don't personally think that, to be honest. But anyway, if you want to be a conspiracy theorist, there is a reasonable conspiracy theory for you, I suppose. That's, like I said, maybe not my personal opinion. Okay. But listen, hey, in fact, right here, it says, we should take everything Iran says at face value, but their assessment can only reinforce the views of Israel and U.S. Take it at face value. Face value. The head of the United Nations nuclear watchdog, International Atomic Energy Agency Director Rafael Grossi, reiterated on Thursday morning, a couple hours ago, that the damage done by Israeli and U.S. strikes at the Iranian nuclear facilities is, quote, very, 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 three varies, considerable. A lot of damage. So there you have it. I guess you can be as conspiratorial as you want with that. Personally, I think that these facilities were destroyed. But you know what? Listen, when we're talking about these facilities, what we do know for a fact is that they've been destroyed and they've been set back by a couple years. Is it possible, God forbid, worst case scenario, that in 3, 4, 5 years, we are having this exact same conversation? Oh, the Iranians, they've got nuclear enrichment facilities. We got to go in and bomb them again. Yeah, President Trump dropped a bunch of bombs on them 5 years ago. But now the year is it's 2030 now. It's 2030. And now they rebuilt them. Now we got to do something about it again. All we can say now is that right now they've been destroyed. Now they've been obliterated. We know that for a fact. We've heard that from every single person involved. But who knows what happens 5 years from now, God forbid, with the situation pops up again. And this is one of my big worries. 5 years from now, we are not going to have President Trump in the White House. President Trump, I think, has handled this situation pretty damn well, pretty reasonably well. who's to say we might have a President Kamala Harris in the White House 5 years from now? Or President AOC, or President Gavin Newsom, or a President whatever, right? And you know, those type of people, God forbid those people are ever running the country, but if they do get control of the country again, then most certainly they would not handle a situation like this if it were to arise again with the same intelligence that President Trump has handled this situation. God forbid. So I guess all you can do now is live in the moment, though. Who knows what the hell's going to happen? Ladies and gentlemen, I think that is going to be a wrap for today's broadcast. I want to say thank you all very, very much for tuning in today. At the end of today's show, if you could do me a favor and go back and watch today's video that I uploaded this morning, if you have not seen it, we've got a fresh 10-minute long video on the YouTube channel. Make sure to subscribe here to the channel. If you are new, do me a favor and subscribe to the broadcast. If you could like the video here, if you could like the broadcast as well, all of these little tiny things you can do, it helps a lot with the dreaded and mysterious YouTube algorithm. And one more final note, if you guys could follow me on Twitter, that's a great place to follow. That's also free. Thank you all very, very much, sincerely from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate all of the continued support, everybody tuning in. I really do. Thank you very much. My wife also supports it a lot. My wife is always tuning into the streams. She sees all the nice things you guys post in the chat, so she's grateful as well. We talk about you guys. So thank you all very, very much. I will be back tomorrow with a bunch of new stuff to talk about. We'll talk about tomorrow's news as well. So have a great evening. Have a great